In the older Okinawan karate systems, the need to produce effective fighters led to the development of an integrated three-part training system. First, the student developed his strength and physique and conditioned his body to make it strong and resilient. This was followed by training in basic technique and progressed to the study of the set patterns or kata of the style. Each part was considered essential, and it was not until a degree of skill in all three had been acquired that the novice was viewed as a serious student of the art. This program, the fifth in the Pangai Noon Karate series, deals with the first and in some ways the most important part of this system. For if physical training and conditioning are neglected, the mastery of karate will be an elusive goal. The spectacular physical results achieved by karate experts come at the expense of years of carefully supervised study and great effort. There is no easy way, nor is it risk-free. Train only under a qualified and experienced instructor, and then only after you have satisfied yourself by consulting your physician that it is completely safe for you to do so. As the practice of karate makes great demands on the body, it is important to prepare yourself for training by means of warming up exercises. Time spent in this fashion is well spent. In a carefully structured program, every segment contributes to the development of good technique, stamina and strength. Not a moment in the dojo is wasted. The use of a predetermined sequence of exercises as demonstrated here is a convenient way of ensuring that preparation is thorough. When the routine has been completed, the student knows that he or she is thoroughly prepared for the next stage of practice. Performing Junbyundo, as it is called, as a class activity, allows juniors to learn from seniors while providing the necessary incentive for improvement for those who are challenged by the physical intensity of the program. Harmony, so essential to the training environment, is also fostered by the pursuit of a common goal by the class. Warming up should be progressive. Start slowly and increase the tempo and the effort exerted until you reach the desired level. Progress is achieved by regular training and not occasional bouts of excessively heavy exercise. In Hojo Undo, or supplementary training, the student performs actual techniques in a continuous sequence. This builds familiarity with the movements and develops fluidity in transitioning from one to another that will form the basis of the genuinely intuitive movement exhibited by advanced students. While maximum power and focus are not employed, control is very important. For if the movements are not performed with precision, the student receives little benefit. To the traditional Pangai Noon practitioner, the block and counter punch of modern karate seems inefficient and of questionable effectiveness. He foils attacks by diverting them with circular, soft, energy efficient and therefore rapid diversionary movements. Then, spiraling his energy towards his target, he will close and strike using weapons hardened by years of conditioning. To maximize the effectiveness of his attack, he will often grasp his opponent with talon-like fingers, making of him an anvil upon which his blows will fall. The conditioning of the fingers and toes allows devastating strikes to be delivered that more easily penetrate an opponent's guard. The power of a karate technique applied through a sharp finger, as opposed to a blunt fist, delivers the greatest possible pressure. The thumb joint to the vital points in the neck, fingertips to the eyes, and the point of a well-conditioned big toe to the groin or solar plexus are techniques which use minimal movement and energy, yet create maximum effect. If an opponent is close enough to fight effectively, he is at the distance preferred by the Pangai Noon practitioner. Trained to respond instinctively, he will launch devastating short-range attacks to vulnerable parts of the body, using striking surfaces so small that their impact can prove fatal. The strategy of Pangai Noon Karate was and is a pragmatic one. In any serious encounter, it's possible to be hit and hit hard. Therefore, one must remain resolute and focused even when locked in violent conflict. In years gone by, the time spent with an instructor was devoted to learning karate techniques, kata, and body conditioning methods, often by means of individual tuition. The student would then practice with his peers under the supervision of more senior students, his progress being monitored by his instructor as his training continued. Building the powerful physique common amongst students of traditional karate was the responsibility of the student himself. In his own time, often using homemade equipment, he would develop the strength and stamina necessary to make his karate technique truly effective. The neophyte was taught that his chosen trade involved not only the business of delivering powerful blows, but also learning how to absorb them while remaining focused and able to fight. With the aid of his equipment, training drills, and ultimately the practice of Sanshin, he worked hard to develop a physique that was both powerfully offensive and defensively effective. The shield of muscle developed by this type of instruction offered effective protection to all but his face and eyes. Severe training developed an unequivocal determination to prevail that was clear from the glare he directed at his enemy. Tiger eyes, designed to heighten his own focus and to distract and unbalance those he faced in combat. This part of the training program included the hardening of the body's natural weapons by systematic conditioning over an extended period. In China, the original home of Pangai Noon, the clenched fist was little used, being considered too easy to counter. Its size also tends to make it effective against the most vulnerable targets on the human body, which are, for the most part, small and inaccessible. However, a blow of even moderate force delivered to the eyes, throat, or a nerve point with a fingertip conditioned by years of striking hard surfaces can prove lethal. The hands offer a variety of striking surfaces which are employed to attack and defend. Hardening these surfaces to make them effective weapons is a slow business that must be carried out with great care if injury is to be avoided. It is an accumulative process that cannot be hurried and that must be carried out under qualified supervision. One of the primary training aids of the karate exponent is the makiwara, a piece of equipment that comes in many guises and which forms a resilient target upon which the hands and feet are tempered. The object is not so much to form calluses as to accustom the body's weapons to impact and thereby strengthen them. This discipline continues for the entire career of the karate exponent. There is no point at which makiwara training is learned or perfected. It should be regarded just as one views the sharpening of a knife, a question of continuous maintenance rather than occasional major repair. As Pangai Noon developed from Chinese boxing, the open hand is the weapon of choice and is used to both strike and grab. A strong grip can be applied to vulnerable parts of an opponent's body to pinch and to tear the flesh. The crushing pressure of a well-conditioned hand can also be used to control an opponent after he has been subdued by a blow. More flexible than the fist, the tiger-like claws are the hallmark of this school of karate and one of its most feared weapons. To develop the paralyzing grip of Pangai Noon, nigirigami, literally gripping jars, are employed. Made of heavy ceramic with the neck constructed to fit the trainee's hands, they can be progressively filled with sand or stones as the student improves to increase their weight and therefore their conditioning effect. In the Pangai Noon system, training with nigirigami takes place in the Sanchin stance. As the body is tensioned, the jars are raised. The shoulders are pulled down into the correct position, causing the muscles in the sides to tighten, and the fingers strengthened by gripping the necks of the jars and resisting their weight. While in this position, the strength and resistance of the student is tested by striking him repeatedly. The degree of tension must be sufficient for the muscles to withstand powerful attacks without lasting effect. When the student can arrive at this physical and mental state, he is capable of closing with his opponent to fight at the range where his techniques will be most effective. Tales come to us from history of karate masters who could penetrate the human body with their spear hand techniques and tear the bark from trees with their fingers. Interesting and exciting stories, but almost certainly exaggerated. However, when correctly conditioned, the fingertips of an expert practitioner are formidable weapons that can cause serious, indeed fatal injury. This method of finger conditioning comes to us from antiquity and involves the use of small stones or pebbles. Initially, the stones are picked up one by one, hardening the fingers and strengthening the grip. Then handfuls are picked up and put down repeatedly. In time, the constant contact with the hard material makes the hand strong enough to thrust into the pile of stones using the classical spear hand technique. As with all conditioning methods, this must be done gradually and over a long period. Hurried training leads to injuries which rob the student of progress. Increase the intensity and duration of training only in tiny increments. This is the safe, effective, and traditional way of training. Certain equally ancient training methods require the cooperation of a classmate. Illustrations of impact training drills are to be found on the walls of the Shaolin Temple, and they remain effective and practical training methods that accustom the student to impact and pain, strengthen the arms, and help develop an appreciation of distance and timing. As always, it is necessary to exercise care. The experience and ability of a student must be taken into account, and the intensity of the training moderated accordingly. Ideally, students should be paired with partners of similar ability so they can train and progress together. Kicks to the body should also be experienced. As the student improves, the intensity and length of training can be increased until even powerful blows can be, if not ignored, then at least tolerated. The ultimate conditioning exercise is Sanchin. Present in a number of the older styles of Chinese boxing, it survives to this day in the schools of Pangai Noon, Goju-ryu, and To-Uun-Ryu Karate, all of which regard it as the core of their fighting method. The tense muscles protect the internal organs as if they were a shield. The legs are strong and rooted, providing an immovable platform from which to fight. The flanks are protected by pulling down the shoulders and tensing the muscle as the performer concentrates his entire effort on the task at hand. Prepared in this manner, the exponent of Pangai Noon Karate is difficult to defeat. He is armored. He is prepared. Without warning, the tension can be released like a whip, driving forward a hand made hard and strong by years of conditioning. A hand that will grab its victim after striking him, so its companion may continue the work of destruction. Sanchin too must be tested for effectiveness. It is not simply a show designed to intimidate an enemy. While its appearance undoubtedly has a deterrent effect, this is, of course, directly related to the ability and determination of the performer. Testing the strength of Sanchin is a severe discipline and is designed to mimic, in as many ways as possible, actual combat. For this reason, it is essential that you train with a qualified instructor. The striking of a student by an experienced instructor to highlight a weakness in technique is positive training. Being hit by an inexperienced instructor unschooled in the way of Sanchin is not. When the West was first introduced to karate, it was the demonstrations of breaking hard objects that thrilled spectators. Many marveled at the force generated by karate exponents and their ability to shatter hard objects with their bare hands and feet, apparently without ill effect or even pain. A few undoubtedly began karate training simply to acquire this ability. In fact, the breaking of hard objects, or tameshiwari, is no more than a personal test of strength, speed, concentration, courage, and ability. It has little to do with self-defense. Bricks and wooden boards do not move, nor do they fight back. It is a reality check, a way of measuring effectiveness that helps the karate exponent remain in contact with the essence of karate. A way of reminding oneself that, if technique is not performed correctly, it will not work. Many of these methods of conditioning and strengthening the body are, these days, unknown to the karate exponent. The pace of modern life does not permit the individual instruction necessary to teach them. Each student is unique. Each has different strengths and weaknesses. Each needs a program of conditioning designed by an experienced instructor to best exploit their potential. Body conditioning cannot be taught to a class, and thus many modern exponents of karate are ignorant of its benefits and even its existence. These training methods are among the most important of karate secrets. The ability to build a powerful and healthy body. The confidence that serious karate training brings. The desire to set new and lofty goals, then exceed them. Okinawan karate first came to the attention of outsiders when a Japanese military doctor noticed that a number of recruits had physiques very different from the average Okinawan. Powerfully built and physically tough, their suitability as military recruits at a time when Japan was constructing its first modern army led to the introduction of karate into the educational system in the early years of the 20th century. From that time, karate has been embraced by people of all nations, and it is therefore ironic that the very aspect of karate training that led to its discovery has been almost completely lost. Traditional karate training is hard, time-consuming, and endless. In return, it promotes health, builds a powerful body, and endows the trainee with abilities that surpass those of other men. It also has a philosophical basis, which is best expressed by the words of the noted karate master Chotoku Kyan. Karate teaches that the real enemy lies within. Get interested in the pursuit, not just the possession. The race, not just the goal. Effort is everything.
The Dragon Associates website features everything from fast-breaking news to a martial arts store, information on the latest videos to back issues of Dragon Times and Fighting Arts magazine. For information you can depend on from the best instructors and martial arts writers in the world, visit us on the World Wide Web at www.dragon-tsunami.org. Dragon Associates since 1968. Tsunami martial arts videos are recognized worldwide as the very finest of their kind. Tsunami's dedicated production team has captured, in their most perfect form, the classical schools of karate. In doing so, they have produced a historical resource of enormous value to this and future generations. The best instructors, the best photography and sound, the best writing and research. Tsunami, the best martial